Someone went up to my mom and asked if I was mentally awkward, and I'm not going to say it because I was smiling too much. I was a kid. I was around 13 or 14 at this point, and I wasn't acting out. I wasn't causing any issues. I was simply just walking around with a smile on my face, entertaining myself. So for me, this happened just because I was existing. And that was the time that something changed within me. I remember myself being a very happy kid. No matter what I went through, and I did go through a few things, but I would always, recover because I was happy in a very specific way. I could make myself happy, and I was perfectly fine with being happy by myself. At one point, people used to call me one man joke because I was really good at making myself laugh, and I was really comfortable with that. So I would crack jokes that only I would get, and I would be the only one laughing, and that was literally okay for me. And I wouldn't do this for attention or to perform. I was just funny in a way that I liked. And I really enjoyed that. And now, as an adult looking back, that really mattered because I realized at that age, when I was really young, that happiness was entirely up to me. Fundamentally, I didn't need permission to be okay. Keeping in mind, I was a black boy from the Caribbean. I'm from the Virgin Islands, you know? And I'm saying that just to add context because joy wasn't something that was encouraged. But I remember still having it. Like, I remember that until things changed. And I remember the change. There was this one summer that felt different. I think, as I said, I was around 13, 14, maybe even 15. But as you could probably tell, my memories of my childhood are quite blurry at some stages. And looking at it now, I didn't go from boy to teenager to man. And I think that's what really stood out to me. This summer, I went from boy straight into being expected to act like a man. There was no buffer, there was no softness. I just remember there being this heavy layer of expectation that was put on me as a black man at the age of like 13 to 14, maybe even 15. And I remember this summer, life felt really heavy, even though I couldn't really explain it at the time. I think looking back at it now, life just felt really heavy. So, back to the story. I think I've given enough context. There was a party. It was, I believe it, I know for a fact that it was on a Sunday. And I remember being excited because I didn't get to go to much parties growing up. And I remember looking forward to it and being very excited about it. I remember smiling. I don't think I was talking that much. I just was very happy and content and just smiling by myself. I wasn't performing. I wasn't causing any issues or making any issues. I was just being myself, a happy kid, just walking around with a smile on my face. And then a family member came to me, and they probably don't remember this, but I do. And I remember them telling me, you need to stop that. And remember, at this point, I wasn't causing any issues. I wasn't acting up. So I was a bit confused. I remember being like really confused. I was saying, stop what? And they told me that someone had gone up to my mom and asked her if I was mentally awkward or if I had a severe disability because I was just walking around smiling. And the reality is, this person didn't say this to hurt me. They just really wanted to protect me and protect how people viewed me, and just the idea that people saw me as disabled, like severely disabled. That's what people thought I was, I guess, because I used to walk around with a smile on my face. They didn't like that, and they were just trying to protect me by telling me this. And I remember the pain. It really hurt. It killed something deep inside me on that specific day. It was like my life went from full color picture to now black and white. And it reorganized me mentally, and it really had an impact on me because it was just walking around smiling is not something that you have to even think about. But because of this, I'm now walking around, moving forward, thinking that people are watching me, judging me. Because as a black man, you're supposed to be tough, you're supposed to be stoic, you're not really supposed to be smiley or soft or emotional. Unless that emotion is anger, then it's a problem, but it's all right. You can express that. I didn't stop smiling forever. Neither did I stop having fun completely. I learned to monitor, to constantly analyze and monitor myself. But that really transitioned me into adulthood, and I still carry it, and I struggle with it to this day, where I am not very free with it to check my expressions and to tone things down. I learned from that too much joy could attract attention, and that attention wasn't always safe. That led to me being picked on. People would go to their way to make my life miserable when I smiled or when I was just happy. So I had to learn to act like a man, be tough, be hard. And I tried, I guess. I wasn't really good at it, but that's how the masking began. And this is one of the reasons why I never believed that I had ADHD. Because I masked so long and so well that I didn't look like the stereotype of what ADHD is. I wasn't loud, I wasn't disruptive, I wasn't chaotic, as you would sometimes see on TikTok or social media in general. What people didn't see, and people is including me, is how much effort it took to maintain this facade. And the mask has stayed on my face for so long, I don't know what the real me is right now, if I'm being honest. Because I had to put so much work into being palatable and acceptable and contained that it's trained me over the years. Even now, as a big hardback man, as we would say, if I have too much fun with people, if I laugh a little bit too much, and I enjoy myself too much, and I smile too much, I come home and there's a lot of shame and guilt associated with that. I feel terrible sometimes. The way I would describe it is that it feels like I crossed the invisible line. Not because there's anything wrong with joy. I'm not just talking about happiness, but joy. But life has taught me, and this wasn't the only instance of something like this happening, but it taught me that joy comes with consequences. And therefore, when I get really happy at this point, I think about the consequences that may be coming my way. I didn't share this because I'm looking for sympathy. Honestly, no. I'm a big man. I'm going to therapy. I'm sorting this out. I'm journaling. But I have a feeling that I'm not alone. And I think it's really important, just like when I was really considering, when I was initially diagnosed with ADHD, I didn't accept it because there weren't enough people like me or who spoke like me or who came where came from speaking about ADHD in this way. I genuinely had this stereotype that ADHD was there's a butterfly, easily distractible, happy-go-lucky, careless, irresponsible, always late. I really had that point of view. So this is why I'm sharing this story, because I have had to accept that I do have ADHD, and it doesn't really show up in the way that you think it might. So if you're a black person, if you're a black woman, a black man, if you're from the Caribbean and you watch this and you get this, um, that's a purpose. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for sorries. What I'm trying to essentially explain is that when you grow up a certain way, I don't know how to best put it. You're taught that being yourself isn't safe. So you therefore mask, and that mask you can think that mask is you, but it really carries a lot of weight and stress and effort behind it, and that can slowly burn you out. So when you do get diagnosed with ADHD, autism, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, you may not believe that you have it because you've put in so much effort into maintaining this guise, this mask, this part of you that isn't the real you as you would have wanted to be. A part of you that was forced upon you. to be help you become who you are. So now you're putting on the mask, and then you're judging that mask against the stereotypes, and you're saying, yeah, this isn't me, so I don't need to get my medication, I don't need to think about it, I don't need to adjust. But it doesn't have to be this way. I do videos like this a lot, and I want to do more videos like this because I think it's really important for people to. I wish there was a channel like this when I was younger. So that's why I'm making this content. So if you appreciate it, leave a like. Me just check out the page to see if there's anything else that interests you or whatever. Thank you for watching. If you've watched this entire video, my gosh, your attention span is perfectly fine. Thank you very much.